Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Minimal Availability. At work, I am responsible for coordinating supervision coverage. We do this quarterly, and I usually get this done 1 to 2 weeks before the following quarter starts. When it's 3 to 4 weeks out, I request everyone's availability. This includes their preferred days, the days they definitely can't work, and any vacation days they plan to use. Because life happens, and there's unplanned PTO or sometimes call-in sick, I also schedule backups at the same time to fill in if this happens. These supervision days can easily add 3 to 4 hours to their workday because of paperwork and such. It's an unfortunate part of their position, and I hate being the one to add to their workload, but they all agree that it's necessary, and sharing the responsibility. Just about all the staff get me their availabilities by the due date without an issue. They are all generally pretty flexible, and I try to be as accommodating as possible, because, let's be honest, work is not the center of their lives, and they already have full plates. So if they say they 100% cannot work a certain day, then I won't be asking them to come in on those days. Period. There's always that one though, right? This person, we'll call her Elder Karen, EK, has been here for 20 to 30 years, can't be fired because of tenure, and is nearing retirement. Basically untouchable, disciplinary-wise. EK sends me her availability several days after the deadline, despite my repeatedly asking, and when she did, she put her only available days as Mondays and Wednesdays. Every other day, she supposedly can only work remote. I say work, because she is logged in and just wiggles her mouse, so her computer won't go into sleep mode. She doesn't do any real work. Several of her Wednesdays are 100% no, because she is taking PTO, so she arrogantly made life difficult. Again, I try to respect the days they say they cannot work, but in EK's situation, she can get lost. Everyone needs to cover a certain number of days as lead and backup. I started working on it as fast as I could, placed a few days, and got pulled into a meeting. So no surprise that I may have overlooked something. I sent out the email and went back to my work. A few weeks go by, and I get a strongly worded email from EK, berating me for putting her on a day as supervisor, that she was unavailable the day prior to that coverage. Suffice to say, it was quite unprofessional, so I started moving other people around, while still trying to consider their scheduled PTO days, like one big Sudoku puzzle with names. Remember how they all have a number of days they need to cover? Guess who was missing quite a few? In my hurry, when initially adding her in, I miscounted, so I was able to switch supervisors that one day in question without issue. Then came the arduous task of putting her name on more days. Since the schedule was changed, I highlighted the edits to prevent confusion for the team. Then comes the satisfying feeling of writing an email. I reply, apologizing for the error, letting her know I made the changes she requested. I also wrote, I noticed that you had less days of coverage than required. I moved some people around and added a few more days to the calendar for you. This should bring you even with the rest of the supervisors now. Unfortunately, due to your restrictive availability, I was forced to schedule you on a couple of your PTO days, so I will need you here. Furthermore, because the quarter has started, changing availabilities isn't allowed, so your coverage days will need to be permanent as is. The next story is called In My Room. During my first year of university, I shared a house with one other girl and 3 boys. The other girl kept to herself mainly. I was the only one who had a job, and therefore didn't really brought anything with me other than clothes and a laptop. I decided to be nice and put my TV in the front room so everybody could watch it, as I could always just use my laptop when I was in my bedroom. One of the boys brought a PlayStation with him and connected it to the TV, which I had absolutely no problem with. For the first couple of months, everything was fine, and they shared using the TV really well. I would generally watch an hour or 2 the days I wasn't working, and they used it most of the other time. After a while, Every time I wanted to watch a program, they told me, "There are 3 of us and 1 of you. Just go and watch it in your bedroom so we can play FIFA." For a lot of programs I have no problem watching on my laptop, but there are certain things that are really better to watch on the real TV. And I did point out politely that the television did belong to me, and I was only wanting it for an hour. I would also give them plenty of notice when I wanted to watch a program. Eventually I just had enough and snapped. I came down to watch something after I told them the previous day, and they told me to go and watch it in my bedroom. So I did exactly that. I unplugged the TV and disconnected the PlayStation and carried it up to my bedroom. I set it up just in time to watch my program, which I had to turn up extra loud to drown out their moaning and banging on my door. The only annoying thing is, the next day, one of them had called the bank of mommy and daddy, who apparently agreed with them that I was awful and had ordered a new TV for them. So they only really went without one for a week or so, until the new one arrived. The last story is called Didn't Say How. Way back in the Dark Ages, known as the 20th century, there was a favorite form of punishment handed out to innocent students. It was the dreaded writing lines. The vice principal at our high school loved to give out demerits. Late to school? A demerit. Talk too loud in the caf? Demerit. Run in the hallway? Etc. The way the demerit system in the school worked was like this. 3 demerits and you had to write 500 lines. Get another demerit and it went up to 1,000 lines, going up exponentially. I can't remember what the line was that we had to write. Probably something along the lines of, "I will not be late to school," or "I will not talk in class," or some other nonsense. This was in the early 80s, and my family had gotten our first computer. Now, it wasn't a computer like we have today. There was no hard drive, and you had to put in a floppy disk to run the system. We had only had the computer for a short period of time, and had just gotten a printer when I ran afoul of the vice principal. It was a dot matrix printer that you had to pull the sides off of it, but it was still cool, because nobody else I knew had a computer and printer set up. I had been assigned 500 lines, and I didn't want to write them. Nobody wants to write 500 lines. It's annoying, it's a waste of time, and did I mention it's annoying? So I decided I was going to do my lines on the computer. It was still annoying. I had to copy each sentence and then paste it over and over and over again, until I made sure I had 500 lines exactly, but it was faster. And the vice principal had never said how I had to write the lines. The next morning, I went to the vice principal's office to deliver my lines. I was nice and put them in a little folder so that they would all stay together. He took one look at my lines and told me that was not what he meant. When he said I had to write 500 lines, I chose to play dumb and asked how I had done it wrong. I had written the line 500 times, and he had not specified how I had to write the line. He hung my lines on his wall with a sign that said that all lines must be handwritten, and used them as an example of how you could not do your lines. But he couldn't make me rewrite those lines. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.